Welcome to the Dynasty Pulse right here on the Undroppables and the Fantasy Football Plus Network, and soon to be, spoiler, on a third platform, your Land Larison headquarters. You'll notice we are down a man down. We are without Mike Lindbergh. Greinberg is on assignment. I think he's rifling around through a drawers back there or something. But Bigz is here. Schultzy is here. Chev, the legendary ball knower and Titans enthusiast. And Coach Retzlaff is here. We're all here. And hey, boys, I bet you can't guess where I am.
I don't know, but I love the decoration of what you've done with the place.
That's a good painting, huh?
Are you at a Wawa, a Sheetz?
Narnia.
I previously went to the Wawa where I picked up these Hers jalapeno poppers, flavored cheese curls.
How are they?
Are you somewhere where you could get Duke's mayonnaise?
Yes.
Okay, we're getting warmer.
What I was trying to segue into was all of you saying Mobile, Alabama, like
Mobile, Alabama,
because you all knew that. I'm here for the Senior Bowl, doing some scouting, bringing you, the viewer, the edge. You couldn't come down here for whatever reason. Maybe you are married. Maybe you have a job. Maybe you're not a degenerate. Well, none of those things apply to me. So I came down here for you. I am your eyes. I am your brain. I make you feel. What is that? How does that sound? Anyway, I got the inside scoop on some players, and we're going to talk about them. I can't wait to be probed.
Whoa. And I absolutely can't wait. Normally we're really far away from each other when we do our shows, but now we're so close to each other.
That is such a good bit.
I got a probe for you, Bigz.
Yeah.
We know the Senior Bowl. It often reveals some hidden gems. You're there now. We're looking for some insight from you. For us as dynasty managers, Bigz, we're always looking for the next long-term, high-upside player. Which under-the-radar prospect here do you think has a potential to rise quickly in the NFL? And it may not be limited to just one. And who do you potentially see as a sneaky buy low or late rookie round gem, 4th round, 5th round for dynasty leagues this year?
Well, I've been down here around some like pretty big heavyweights. Derek Brown, D-Bro is down here. Cody Carpentier is down here. Theo, I was here with Jason Allwine is here. A lot of guys. But I'm gonna throw my name out there and say that I'm the guy to watch. I'm the one who's rising out of the Senior Bowl class that you're gonna want to keep your eye on.
I am the one who knows.
Damn right.
You were talking about players. Yeah, I have quite a few. We've talked about some on the show before. If there's anyone that I'm gonna say came out of the darkness, it's Elijah Arroyo at the tight end position. Here's a guy that I didn't know his name on Monday, and on Tuesday he was absolutely the talk of the place. He was doing things on the field that were like blowing people's minds. And there was pretty much a consensus on the top 4 tight ends. And now I don't know if I would draft any of them over Elijah Arroyo, just depending on landing spot and scheme fit and things like that. Obviously, like I'm still really in on the guys at the top. But Elijah Arroyo absolutely planted himself in that top 5.
So you got to say what? Tyler Warren. We love Harold Fannin Jr. on this show. Colson Loveland.
Gunnar Helm.
In around 4 to 5. Royal starts to
Gunnar Helm is in the conversation in the top 5, and I have Oronde Gadsden Jr. there myself. Although that doesn't seem to be the consensus. I'm a lot higher on him than other people are. But yeah, Elijah Arroyo is right there.
So I heard that Mason Taylor, son of Hall of Famer Jason Taylor, put out pretty well.
Future Titans defensive coordinator Jason Taylor?
Absolutely not.
Some tea got spilled. and it's not on the Nextdoor app.
I mean, that's what I was hearing.
What'd you see? What'd you see on, man? Such a good scoop, man. Better than ice cream. How about Mason Taylor? And any word on him? Where did he stand out?
I don't know who Mason Taylor is. Oh, he's the LSU tight end, right? I wasn't. The tight ends were separate for the most part, and when they were in the same sets as the running backs and wide receivers, they weren't getting the reps. So that was more what I was focused on. There were individual, like not 3-on-3, but like they would have individual reps, maybe 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends with like 2 linebackers on them or 2 safeties on them or whatever. And there might have been some sets where Mason Taylor was the other guy with Arroyo, and I just didn't notice him, or it could have been in a different practice session and I was focused on something else. But there were some people who were focused on him that said that he had a really good camp, or a really good series of practices. I know Ray GQ really liked what he saw. Yep. But I noticed there were some sets where there were, I want to say, 4 LSU Tiger helmets, like all right there in line. And that was the most I saw of Mason Taylor.
Now, Bigz, for players who they're trying to change the narrative, who do you think there's some players who change the narrative in the most positive direction for themselves? Be it quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, be it 1, 2, or 3. Who jumped out for you who really flipped the script for themselves in their favor?
It depends. It depends on like what narrative you're going with. Because my takeaway from Jackson Dart was he was exactly what I expected to see and didn't fall out of anything. There were other guys that in the narrative maybe were ahead of him that fell below him. Yeah. But he walked out there and he was just the Jackson Dart that I expected. He looked good. He was poised. He was like hitting his windows. He was on time. I expected to see all that. There were some guys where I was really wowed by how poor they were throwing. Dillon Gabriel probably was the best passer that I saw. The problem with him is he's 5'10", and that doesn't lend itself to long NFL careers. Bryce Young might be one of the exceptions to that rule. Kyler Murray has a little bit more get up in his game, but Dillon Gabriel's got to do a lot more than be a good passer to overcome his height. At running back, Trevor Etienne looked, I think this is in my eyes, he played himself past the DUI narrative and past the transfer portal narrative out of like should have declared as a junior. Who else? Wide receiver. Nobody really fell off. Jalen Royals looked good, but also he has been recovering from injury, so I think he looked better than should have been expected. And then my big sleeper running back, Bashal Tootin, disappointed me the first day. Oh, I just thought of another one. Disappointed me the first day. It looked like, so when you watch people do reps, sometimes you see like the sense of urgency. He looked like he was going through the motions. So he's supposed to do like, step over the pads and then kind of take off. And it didn't look like he was giving 100% effort. And then I was talking to a guy who was a knower, and he was talking to Tootin's agent, and apparently he was practicing at 80% coming off an injury. Ah. So then Tuesday he looked a little bit better. He's fantastic in the pass game. Like he's a do-it-all guy. 5'9", 211 were his measurements that came out. Or 5'8", sorry. And that was like, I was like, okay, so like that looks good. The biggest disappointment of the entire show for me was Xavier Restrepo. He did not look like he was an athlete. He looked like one of us had like gotten a uniform on and was trying to like run routes and make cuts and stuff like that. Just heavy feet. Not a lot of explosiveness. Made me wonder like why I just kept hearing his name during Miami games over and over and over again.
And you consider he's undersized, so he has to have that athleticism already in his favor. So yeah, you're one. I've heard some other people talk about that as well. That really is disappointing. He was somebody who was trying to show short, intermediate, and deep what he can do in blocking. So it sounds like it's stocked down on him. How about for quarterback Jalen Milroe? What was the consensus on him?
I have a Franken comp.
Okay.
All right. So what if you had Colin Kaepernick's throwing ability, Justin Fields' body, and Spencer Rattler's head? Then you would be Jalen Milroe.
Quarterback.
Yeah. Huge deep ball. Somebody was talking about him yesterday and comped him arm-wise to Anthony Richardson. Last year, I want to say that the hardest velocity at the combine was Milton at like 68 miles an hour. Some gun at the Senior Bowl had Milroe at 74.
Okay. I was reading about this on Twitter. This is two separate data sets here. One of them is a chip in the ball, and the other, like the combine and the Senior Bowl, are using two entirely separate sets of data, and they are not the same, but they're using miles per hour. I don't understand how that's possible, but apparently those numbers are like not comparable.
And that's fantastic, actionable information, Schultzy, because when it gets to the combine and he throws the ball and it's 65 miles an hour and not 74, it's going to put it in better perspective because now, to be fair, there were some, short passes 4 or 5 yards off the line of scrimmage that he was throwing to tight ends who were body catchers. And it was an audible thump, like that you could hear in the stands. So, I mean, he throws the ball hard and like he threw some really nice deep balls. But watching him try and throw balls in the flat areas, I think I counted, there was a series of 5 or 6 reps. And granted, this is in context. He wasn't being asked to do anything more than like line of scrimmage throws and behind the line of scrimmage throws. But past the line of scrimmage, he was 1 for 2 and then sailed a couple balls and like on screen passes and skipped one. And it was just a horror show. And that's what reminded me of Colin Kaepernick. Like anything medium in and he's all over the place. But if you need him to zip a ball on a line at like a 7-foot level, like a dart, like he's perfect for that. And then there was one deep throw that he made that I tweeted about on Player Profiler that was caught by TCU's Jack Besh, who made a pretty nice play on the ball, kind of came back to it and made like an acrobatic catch or whatever. Other than that, like he was disappointing. There were a lot of drills where he held on to the ball too long, and Riley Leonard did the same thing. Riley Leonard looks like all he ever wants to do with the ball is run.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
It sounds like Ollie Gordon's stock went real high, and he's crystallizing towards the top of the 6 through 10 tier and maybe pushing. I thought I heard maybe you say he could be even higher. What's your impression on Ollie Gordon? So
he looked the most the part. That was another thing with Dillon Gabriel. Like when you watch the team huddle up and Ollie Gordon is like towering over Dillon Gabriel. I don't want that as my quarterback. I'm 6 foot tall. I don't want a quarterback shorter than me. But yeah, Ollie Gordon, like you look at him and he's a massive boy. he came in at 233 pounds, which is a little bit short of what Braylon Allen did last year. And he looks like his feet are there. I mean, this was the kid of all time in 2023, and he had a down year this last year. Didn't look like he had ever missed a step. He was doing everything he was supposed to do. He looked good in some of the pass coverage reps. He looked good catching the ball out of the backfield. He looked good catching the ball past the line of scrimmage. He looked like he was making good decisions, finding holes, getting through them, getting to the second level. And it was one of those things where it's all confirmation bias, and but you don't want to see him slip. He didn't slip.
Hey, that's excellent, and it's good key information. And Dwayne McFarland always talks about past fantasy performance can indicate future fantasy performance as a strong indicator.
Sure.
And you have, funny enough, he and Chuba Hubbard, Ollie Gordon and Chuba Hubbard, in their penultimate college seasons, thrived, had a dip, and then you see Chuba Hubbard, who's doing so well in the NFL now. I think it speaks to the fact that Ollie Gordon can absolutely do the same thing.
Jamie, penultimate means second to last. Yeah, and
hey, I'm used to Big saying cromulent, so I thought I would just drop something, something deep.
No, I was just afraid that Jamie Pirog wouldn't know what that word meant, and I wanted to.
Yeah, we love Jamie.
It has ultimate in it. No, and we've seen that at other positions too. Like Drake May is the perfect example of that. Yeah, you can have a big time sophomore or junior breakout and then have an off year, and suddenly you're not the shiny toy anymore. And that's what Ollie Gordon has been going through. And again, like, he should have been the best running back out there, and he absolutely was. Not at any specific thing, but just all around, and especially at his size. So, like, obviously there were guys that, had a little bit more explosiveness. There were guys that looked a little bit more comfortable in the passing game, but as an all-around guy that can do everything, and if I'm an NFL GM and I want to see a guy on the field for 3 downs at a time, like, he's absolutely the prototype.
Beautiful. Hey, Chev, you got any questions or impressions with the Senior Bowl with Bigz here?
I would like to just start this off by saying, everybody here knows how keyed up I was about RJ Harvey, and then Rashard Smith had my pants off in the hardware store after watching his all 22, and the Iowa State receivers coming into the week, Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. They've all been, we've been hammering their highlights from the Player Profiler Now account. What is your assessment of those guys' performance this week? And if you had to pick one who helped themselves the most, who would that be?
I think in the eyes of consensus, Jalen Noel helped himself the most, because he was more of an unknown quantity. And the kid is an absolute route technician. Like,
yes.
This is like peak Hunter Renfrow. Like inventing China routes that nobody's seen before. That's how good he was. Jaden Higgins, I was super, super impressed, but I expected to be. I didn't get the feeling that everybody else was as impressed at him as I was, at least on the first day. But then by the end of the third day, the narrative started being like, okay, this kid is doing things. And like, I think, Coach, you're the one that did the supercut, posted the supercut of 3 routes that he ran. On one of them, he's coming off the line and he's running a go route, and he absolutely like juked the cornerback and was 7 yards past him to catch the deep ball. And then on the next route, he like made his cover guy, probably a linebacker, fall down to catch a little flat route. And then there was another one that, he was in breaking routes, out breaking routes, boundary catches, twisting in the air, high pointing the ball, getting to the catch point, tracking, separating in the middle of the field. He was winning everywhere. And again, it was context dependent, that it was the things that they were working on in the practice sessions. So it was limited. Some, like one day was medium balls, one day was short balls. I think today was more like deep throws and stuff from the national. I think that was the national side. But dude won everywhere. And he was the only one that was doing that. Like, there were guys who were winning deep, but dropping shorter passes. There were guys that were, catching like little in-breaking China routes and stuff like that, or out-breaking China routes, catching slants, but then not like tracking the ball very well. He did everything, absolutely everything. So if there's one guy that I saw, not in this class, but one guy that I saw at the Senior Bowl, that no matter where you line him up and no matter where you put him on his route tree, he's going to win, it's Jaden Higgins. And he's 6'3", 270.
Are you talking about Jalen Noel or
no, Jaden Higgins?
Oh,
I had moved on from Jalen Noel. I comped him to peak Hunter Renfrow in his route running. He's a little guy. He's going to be a slot receiver. If he puts on 25 pounds of muscle, he's going to be Amon-Ra. But Jaden Higgins is your outside X that can do everything that Mike Williams does. He can do everything George Pickens does. He can do everything that Justin Jefferson does. And he's 6'3", 217. And he's making like high level cornerbacks fall down.
So who do you think Higgins would be a compliment to from in a receiver room? Like maybe a shorter Megatron. I don't know. The potential is that, like I said, he can win everywhere. There wasn't anything that he couldn't do on the field. When he lined up in the slot and he was like running routes in the middle of the field, he was getting separation. He was beating people. He was beating people with footwork. He was beating people with body position. He was beating people with his catch, his jumping. He beat people all over the place.
So the follow-up question to that, Bigz, would be, which one of these guys would you have, if you had to choose right now based on, just kind of what your own leanings were prior to this, and then adding what you've seen this week into it, would the answer to who would be the most relevant for fantasy in 2025, would that be Jaden Higgins also, or would you pick someone else?
I mean, it would have to be Jaden Higgins. Somebody who I don't know who it is. I forgot who is, but he got called out for stealing all of FF Coder's data and then repackaging it for his own tweets. He released a thing today that was based on first downs per route run and some other metric. And Jaden Higgins was number 2 in the class behind Tez Johnson. Now, Tez Johnson is 156 pounds.
Right.
He's going to be a marginally utilized, like his utilization rate is going to be very minimal because he's not going to be able to hold up against bigger guys. Jaden Higgins is going to be like that guy. So I am, one of the things about me is that there's always like the person at the top, and I consistently look for reasons not to go after that guy. Last year it was Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr. I was always trying to find reasons to not take them, but to take other people. And I found Malik Neighbors that way. And I found Ladd McConkey, and I was all in on Jalen McMillan that way. And so with Jaden Higgins, it was like, I knew he was going to be good. But he impressed me. If it came down to it, and I had like somebody took Tet McMillan before my pick, I would love to grab somebody else and then grab Jaden Higgins later and double up that value. Like that's
position wise, like
he's that kind of player. Yeah. So if we were looking for somebody to come out of like the middle tiers and put up Brian Thomas Jr. numbers next year, it's Jaden Higgins.
Oh man, talk dirty pants off right there, man.
But see, here's the thing. The difference between the two is that Jaden Higgins has the usage metrics behind him, and Brian Thomas Jr. didn't. So I'm not equating them that way. Not in the Puka Nacua way, where he like was being drafted in the 5th round. Like everybody's going to know his name by draft day. So it's and everybody knew Brian Thomas Jr., but there were analytical reasons to kind of like keep him pressed down. His usage was completely different in Jacksonville than it was at LSU. Jaden Higgins, his usage was everywhere on the field at Iowa State. Like he was the guy, he was the man, and that's going to continue on the NFL level.
So it sounds like, just to rehash, the actionable thing would be if you miss out on Tet McMillan, you're lower in your draft, you just get sniped. Maybe you pivot over cross-positionally to, if you need one of the quarterbacks and you like them, like Cam Ward, or one of those running backs. Would you pivot over to the running backs and then later pivot down in maybe round 3 on Higgins? Or
late round 2?
Okay, there we go.
And this is going to change. I mean, we're in January. This is going to change over the course of the next 6 months. By the time we start getting into like real rookie draft season, the sick ones of us are going to be doing pre-draft rookie drafts, and we're going to be doing like immediately post-draft rookie drafts. But for the casual dynasty degens, when they're doing their drafts in August, or if you're drafting in the fishbowl in June, don't wait too long, because by then everything's going to be out on, like, everybody's going to know who he is. He was so impressive.
The casuals will miss the roller coaster ride and the meteoric rise of Jaden Higgins. Just be like, well, I heard this guy was pretty good. I mean, he went as a 3rd round pick and he's been dominating in training camp. So, I mean, I think that guy was pretty good. And we're all going to be like, yeah, you idiot. We know. We've been here the entire time. That's why the coffee's cold.
And there were guys last year, Jamari Thrash, Malachi Corley, who they had the analytics behind them. Their landing spot hurt. They didn't have great combines. The scouting season wasn't kind to them, whatever. And they kind of fell through the cracks. And then you have guys like Jalen Polk, who were like, they were pumped up like throughout the pre-draft portion. And they went way too high in the rookie drafts and stuff. And I think Jaden Higgins is going to be right there in that area where Jalen Polk was. And the kid from Cincinnati, rookie from Cincinnati.
From last year or this year?
Yeah, from last year.
Yoshivas?
No.
Rookie wide receiver?
Yeah.
Jermaine Burton?
Thank you, Jermaine Burton.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking University of Cincinnati.
I was thinking University. I was like, they didn't have a receiver last year.
No. So where Jermaine Burton and Jalen Polk were going last year, Jaden Higgins is going to be going there this year, only he's going to perform.
Now, what's neat, and I like the point, because all in these rookie drafts, the thought is, if you wanted to punt early at running back, I know, Bigz, you had astutely talked about how you could pivot off and tier down from Ashton Janty and sell at the top, ring the bell at the top there. The nice thing is you've been able to skip running back early because you can get guys like Devin Neal, you get Ollie Gordon, you just name Dylan Sampson, right? Woody Marks. There's all different names all throughout. RJ Harvey. And it's kind of nice to get this intel and this information on somebody like Jaden Higgins, where it's like, oh, hold up. You can go earlier at your top 5 running backs, at the Caleb Johnsons, the Omarion Hamptons, the Ohio State guys, and then you can pivot down to Jaden Higgins. So it's kind of nice to see we get some information out of this that's pretty actionable here just before February.
Now, I won't have a problem with, and I would happily take Jaden Higgins at the top of the back end of the first round. And I have a feeling that at some point that's where his value is going to land by the time you get to your rookie draft, but it's not there right now. As it stands, if he is in the back half of the second round or the top of the third round, I might find myself from I don't know, probably 1-5 to 3-1, taking nothing but running backs.
Is that just because you can go out and get Jaden Higgins?
Yeah, but also because that's how like deep this running back class is. Like whoever you're getting at running back at 1-9 and whoever you're getting at 2-9, there's not going to be much separation there.
It's a great draft to fire the buckshot at running backs.
Yeah, and it's a great draft to if you have a Rashad White or a Travis Etienne, sell them for draft picks.
So one last question on Higgins. We got McMillan, Ibuka, Trey Harris, Luther Burden. We have Travis Hunter if he plays predominantly wide receiver. Would you say Higgins would slot in maybe up there near like Matthew Golden?
I have him above Golden. I have him at my wide receiver 5.
Oh wow!
There we go.
Oh, that is noise. There's noise, and then there's signal, and this is a signal.
Yeah, I mean, so similar to Marvin Harrison Jr. last year and Ashton Genty at the running back position, Ted McMillan is the consensus number 1. So I will talk myself out of drafting him, right? Trey Harris, I would take him over Emeka Ibuka as well, then Luther Burden, and then Jaden Higgins. And that's like my personal rankings, and that's before my modeling. That's just like I mean, that's how much he is. I was hoping like he'd be around in the 3rd round for the Raiders, and I think now he's going to be back end of the 1st and top of the 2nd in the NFL draft.
That's aggressive.
You can kiss back into the 2nd round goodbye if he gets that kind of draft capital, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that was the thing. Like Jalen Polk went the 3rd round, 4th round, something like that.
Okay, ready? On the big board 2025, Jaden Higgins, PFF rank 55. That would be round 2. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Back into round 2.
Wow. Man, it happens quick.
Yeah, life comes at you fast. And again, I mean, this is only a guy that I was keyed in on. I should find. We are full now, you guys. Just to let you know, okay. I'm going into my text messaging with my son. I'm hitting search and I'm typing in Higgins. And of course, there's going to be a bunch. So there's 8 results, and the first result is. We wanted Will Johnson, then Jackson Dart, and then Jaden Higgins. And this is a month ago. I knew of him because I watched Rocco Becht. I liken it to, the baseball scout going to like watch a pitcher who's got a 95 mile an hour fastball and some kid who's not playing in the traveling space takes him deep 3 times. And everybody goes, "Oh, who's this guy?" That's Jaden Higgins for me watching Iowa State football.
Yeah. I got him at 8 in our consensus rankings in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, and Jalen Noel.
I feel like I was the highest on him until you just said all that, and now I realize
Jalen Noel. I think to everybody else was the most impressive. They were looking at route running skills specifically, I think, and he helped himself probably more than anybody else in the draft. The thing is that he's not going to be a primary wide receiver for anybody. So. His fantasy stock is but again, Jaden Higgins can win anywhere, and he's going to eventually be Nico Collins. I thought was a good comp for him.
Yes. You're the third. You're the second person who has said that. That's not me. I was like, I see a lot of that. And I didn't want to, obviously now, like I was on Nico going back to like 2022, and you could see like the traits were there, But then you turned on like the Michigan film, you were like, yeah, is it him? Is it Donovan Peoples-Jones? And I landed on the Nico side. But with Jaden Higgins, it's a more complete profile coming out of college.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he has, like, we talked about on Player Profiler Now, like we had talked about he's sudden in and out of his breaks, and he moves like a guy who's much smaller than 6'3", 215.
Right. And I was seeing some tweets or blueskis from people that know way more than I do as far as like scouting. I'm an eye test guy. I'm not really like a form guy. Back when I played and was around coaching and stuff, there were not terms. We didn't talk about leverage back then. It was just like beat your guy. Now there's specificity in what you're supposed to be doing. So I was seeing like, watch how he uses his body to flatten out the DB and like he's doing things that are advanced. And he's not going to wait till year 3. He's not a year 3 breakout. He's going to be a rookie breakout.
Yeah, I mean, he's got what you're looking for, even if, he broke out at Eastern Kentucky as a true sophomore before transferring to Iowa State. He put up 900 yards there, and then he transfers to Iowa State, has a catch in 26 straight games to finish out his career, and he becomes the first 1,000-yard receiving pair with Jalen Noel since CeeDee Lamb and Hollywood Brown in 2018. Like, it's all there. And I feel like we're going to look back at where he was going. Like I've been running a bunch of rookie mocks just so I can kind of get an idea of ADP going pre-Senior Bowl. And then we'll mock it up after this and see who moves and who doesn't. But we're going to look at this and then look at where he goes and then look at him during the season, in my opinion, and be like, how were people so low on this guy?
Right.
I feel like I'm missing it because there's elements of T. Higgins in his game, like the contested catch, like go up and get it. Just, hey, I'm bigger than you, and I have like a 37-inch vertical. So that ball that you thought was going to go out of bounds, it's 1st and 10 now. And
so Jaden Smith is a guy, right? Isn't that a guy?
Will Smith's son?
No. Jaden Smith, wide receiver. Kylan Robinson? No.
Keelan Robinson.
No, this is Kylan.
This is Kylan.
Mo Edwards Jr. I'm looking at the Eastern Kentucky roster from 2022. Because there was and I'm getting Eastern Kentucky mixed up with Western Kentucky.
Yeah, the Hilltoppers. Eastern Kentucky is not the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, because Western Kentucky had a quarterback a couple years ago that was an absolute beast. And
he transferred from Arkansas because Arkansas sucks and beat Arkansas. Yeah.
But yeah, Jaden Higgins, and he was listed at 6'4", 215 as a sophomore.
Yeah. I mean, it's all the things that you would like to see are present in his profile. So I don't really understand. I mean, if you're going to hold it against him for being a senior and not being an early declare, I guess go ahead. But I'm hoping that that he doesn't get early or mid round 2. I'm hoping he doesn't get any kind of real NFL round 2 capital so that he could be a little bit cheaper in rookie drafts.
Yeah.
What would be fun with Jaden Higgins is looking at that spot in the draft. If he's projected Higgins for where PFF Big Board has him, things could change. But I'm looking at the Baltimore Ravens, the Washington Commanders. How would we feel for a fit there? He'd be immediately in a good offense.
I think him and Terry would be scary.
Ooh.
Okay, you left no crumbs there. You ate.
I see what you did there, big dog.
But also, and hear me out, Jacoby Myers is a fantastic slot receiver, and Brock Bowers works over the middle. Trey Tucker is a wind sprinter. The Raiders absolutely could use a guy like that.
The problem
on
is,
the outside.
I don't know if Shedeur Sanders could make all those guys
I'm gonna
relevant.
punch you through this computer screen.
Oh man!
Please, we're so close together. Don't do it.
The number of times that I have sent Chev the mock drafts that have Shedeur going to Tennessee makes my heart happy. I've never seen anybody fought against so hard by two people. You take him. No, you take him. No, you take him.
I have been vehemently against the idea of taking a quarterback since we got the number 1 pick, and it feels like my front office is in.
You were out before that.
Me now.
I mean, there were times.
The number 1 pick at 5. I wanted Cam Ward at 5 when we had the 5th pick. Right. We don't have to do this right now. There's more important things we have to get to.
Let's do a rookie mock draft.
Rookie mock draft.
Watch the 101 go Cam.
Oh
man,
this is my buddy Jose. He's gonna do that just to piss me off.
Let's go. Let's fire it up.
Oh, is it 1 minute clock?
Yeah. Should I change it?
Yeah, do 2 minutes because he may not be in
2 minutes. That's gonna take forever to do this draft.
Not if everybody's there.
He already picked.
Oh, let's go. He was locked in.
So there's Janty, really not too controversial. Were it to be Bigz, and this were a live, real draft, Bigz, you've discussed before, you would want to apply the tier down trade, rack up picks, and then go anywhere from RB2 through 5, 2 through 6. It's very fungible right now. Maybe you'd be able – I wonder how far down you'll be able to scale back and get somebody like Ollie Gordon. Do we think Ollie Gordon – becomes a first-round super flex pick, or will he safely live in round 2?
That's a great question. We're going to have to wait on combine results because, as we know, and Chev and I just talked about a little bit earlier on Player Profiler, there is way too much value. Oh, okay, that's fine. I'm cool with that. There's way too much value on 40 times among running backs. And it's the least corollary stat in all, like at the combine. So when other guys are running faster, when they're running, 4.34s to his 4.38 or 4.42 or whatever, that could tell us a lot about where he's going to get drafted. And if he's not like in the top 5 fastest 40 times, he's not going to be in the top 5 in the draft, like in rookie drafts. There's going to be too much weight put on that.
I personally hope he tests like not the greatest, and it kind of pushes him down.
Well, here's the thing. All right, he's 6'1", 233 pounds. Just we have these metrics now. His weight adjusted speed score, if he runs anything low 4.5 or if he even cracks 4.4, is going to be off the charts. Like on Player Profiler, his burst score is going to be like 95th or 96th percentile if he cracks 4.4.
But most people don't look at that. And the consensus.
No. I'm with you. Yeah, I agree. I mean, this show is for the sick ones that are still talking about fantasy football in January.
Yes. Today is my parents' wedding anniversary.
Nice.
I did a thing, guys, and I don't know how I feel about it. It makes this is the opposite of making my pants tight, taking Cam Ward at 1.4.
So you got the pill.
You got to click and find out, though. You got to find out how you feel.
Yeah. See, this is. See, I'm effing around, and I feel like come August you'll find out taking a guy like Cam at 1.4.
And again, Draft Capital is going to tell you everything. If Tennessee takes him as the number 1 pick, 104 is perfectly he's perfectly valued.
Absolutely.
You know how thirsty people get for quarterbacks.
Oh, absolutely. For fantasy, though, I think that as a Titans fan, I think that his ceiling is much higher if he goes to a place like Cleveland.
All right, let's see is Dustin going to put his money where his mouth is?
Let's see.
Ooh, beautiful. Hey, he's Ohio State, so shout out to you, Dustin. Great pick, sharp pick.
Oh, Tuma autoed? That's sad.
Yeah. So
It's
I have
late.
this little hack that I like to do in the first round. Tell me how you all feel about it. Normally, I pivot between the running backs, the top 5 running backs, and then of course, if Tyler Warren is there because of the premium, let's pretend there's a premium thrown on it, or just the uniqueness, the unicorn ability of Tyler Warren to be a Brock Bowers light is somebody who I find very appealing. So I don't mind grabbing him, but I find in the first round, if you run the top 5 running backs, you just wait until they all get picked and you pick up until they're all taken and then move on to other positions. What's your stance on that?
Yeah.
I think that's correct.
I think
process, honestly,
if you don't have tiers, you're doing it wrong.
Well, there's Devin Neal.
That's
There's
nasty.
RB6.
Oh, that's so nasty. That's so nasty. I thought for sure Devin Neal never makes it back to me. I don't know why I'm disillusioned into believing that one of these drafts,
Oh, there goes
one
Gordon.
of these days, Alice. So I'll just go with
days.
I'll go with my wide receiver 3 in this class.
There was no way I wasn't taking Ollie Gordon as the RB7. And I'm kind of surprised that
Schultzy,
Devin Neal and Ollie Gordon weren't opposite. I was firmly ready to take Devin Neal there.
So Deku is a good friend of mine from Discord, and we've had some extensive conversations about this exact start for him in several mocks.
I love that start right there.
So he's a big Devin Neal guy. We were sharing clips back and forth of some of our favorite runs. I was going over Brashard Smith, and he was talking about Devin Neal. And so, yeah, I'm not surprised. I shouldn't have been surprised that he did that, but the pain is still, even if you know you're going to lose, it still hurts. Let's see how far. Ooh.
Right. I figure we need to be topical. Is this correct? Did I
That's
come
fair.
correct?
That's fair.
And tier, we talked about the tier of Ibuka, Tet McMillan, Burden, Hunter, if he's the guy playing primarily, right? Great sharp pick at 111. Why not take the risk there? Then you have Trey Harris. So then it's Royals, Bond, and we're talking about Higgins tearing up beyond those gentlemen. So I like that. I feel like I'm getting value with Higgins there, and it's topical too.
And Dev taking Royals as the wide receiver 5 is not out of the that's not out of bounds either.
Do you think Bond is the one that doesn't fit then?
Yeah.
All right, I agree.
Yeah. Oh, about to go double auto for Johnny. That's not a great look.
Hey, he made a very good pick with the 1-9.
Yeah, I've got Bond in our rankings. I've got Bond 13.
Oh, there's your guy.
Why is it taking so long? There it is. Okay.
Love that.
Hey, do you feel like ADP on Sleeper is starting to crystallize a little bit sharper?
I don't think it's sharp at all.
No, it's not moving at all. Okay.
No, not yet. I mean, you still got some really, really key names that I really like at near the bottom. I mean, there's a lot of guys here that we're not talking about that I feel like we could easily make a case for being late second round picks.
Like, is Kyle Monangai in here?
No, Kyle Monangai is still not in here. Jalen Noel still not in here. Those are two guys that I've been scrolling looking for, hoping that they added them since they fixed the Travion Henderson deal. But they have not added those guys yet.
So Matthew Golden goes 210. How do we feel about Golden versus Isaiah Bond? Do we feel like that should be flipped? Matthew Golden ahead of Isaiah Bond.
I have Matthew Golden ahead of Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, same. And I was talking to somebody from Texas who had the same.
I mean, if you watch, obviously something was going on with something was going on with Isaiah Bond this year from an injury standpoint, but he's a slight frame guy. I mean, Schultzy, how do you feel about that? Like you're the Isaiah Bond, the resident guy who's highest on Isaiah Bond here.
I've got Bond higher right now. I think you've got to be right about some injury stuff that kind of is the explanation here for what we saw out of him this year. I just really I think he profiles to what the NFL likes to do a lot with a lot of these passing schemes we're seeing. Like, just he's going to be able to utilize his speed, but they're also going to be able to drop him in zones and get him some yak. I think he's going to be a really creative piece. I like him a lot.
Well, you have to would you say that landing spot would probably be more it's paramount for every rookie, but especially for him being slider framed.
Definitely
kind of scheme up looks for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think like he's a guy that if he goes somewhere, I don't know, I'm not off the top of my head, but if somewhere we really don't like the landing spot, I'll drop him pretty quick in my rankings. I won't be afraid to do that because I think landing spot's big for him.
Hey, how do you all feel?
Hang on, I love that Restrepo just went. I'm trying to I have some time before I make my pick, but I just wanted to hit the viewers with the Okie-doke.
Dynasty Pulse. So this is Devin Neal, and you're watching the Dynasty Pulse.
Let's go.
Love it. Hey, Damian Martinez goes at the 212. Do we feel like that's just a beautiful value pick there?
I feel like you probably could have gotten him at that same pick in the third round, maybe.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
He's in the fourth tier for me, and along with Cam Scottaboo and I don't have a problem with him anywhere in the second round. He was one of the guys that didn't jump out at me, but also didn't hurt himself. And Chev and I talked about that. Sometimes the winners are the ones that aren't losers. You don't necessarily have to be a winner to have won. You just have to go out and do what you're supposed to do. And Martinez was one of the guys that did that.
So the reason that I said you probably could get him in the second, you could probably get him in that same spot or close to it. Like RJ Harvey, I have over Damian Martinez, and Schultzy just got him 6 picks later.
Yeah, that's fair.
Correct. Yep.
And then Dylan Sampson just went, and he's for a lot of people, he's right in that top 6.
Right.
There's so much.
I'm anxious to see you guys' rankings of these guys.
When I can get my head on straight and
just
figure
guys
out
on guys
the demands from all of the different platforms.
Dog.
While I'm not traveling, then I will
preach.
I keep seeing you guys doing work, and I'm I can't even keep my eyes open.
Hey, it makes me think of Michael Myers in Austin Powers, where he's at the water fountain.
That's your favorite gif, isn't it?
Yes, man. When you're just pounding out work, that and the Heat gif, man, with Val Kilmer, man. Nobody's cooler than Val Kilmer and Heat, and I stand on that, dude.
That's true. I just watched that 3 days ago.
I love Heat, man. We could talk about Heat all day, man.
I mean, I don't know if there's anybody cooler than Rod Kimball and Hot Rod, but that's just me.
I agree. My name's Rod, and I like to party.
Hey, I got a question. As we're scrolling here, I feel like there's almost not enough players to.
I was just thinking that I just hit the bottom, and I was like, "Are we even gonna?
Are we sure about that? Yeah,
it's gonna be.
There's enough.
We've got 27 picks left.
I mean, they have guys in here that aren't even in the draft, though. That's a problem.
Jay Knott, my 2026 RB1.
Yeah, Antonio Williams is back at Clemson. I mean. Is Evan Stewart coming out for sure?
I don't know.
Let me Google it. Oh, wait, wrong tab. Not that one.
Oh. Almost.
I mean, Nick Singleton and Katron Allen are coming out next year. There's I'm gonna love the value on Jaden Knott.
It's very tough to see what Nick Singleton did in the college football playoffs. He would have been a core 6 instead of that top 5 tier in these running backs. Nick Singleton would have been there. Do we think that Singleton essentially just wanted to go to a less crowded backfield class?
I think there's a lot of pressure from NIL and teams making the playoff and saying, let's run it back and do it next year. Because it's the Ohio State model at this point.
Yep.
Money.
Yep. Was just thinking of Quinshon Judkins and what goes into that decision. Get a bag.
And Emeka Egbuka.
Reserved. Mm-hmm.
Egbuka could have come out last year. Travion and Quinshon all could have come out last year, and they went back to get a natty. And we're going to see that a lot. That's where the money is.
I mean, why not maximize as a running back? Why not maximize the bag that you can get?
Woody Mark, great pick.
Yeah, fantastic. Love that.
I'll go one better.
Will you now? Ooh, well, I raise you. I see that, and I raise you.
Don't do it. Don't you do it. Oh, okay, that's fine.
Tough.
I mean, these tight ends really just, I mean, you're talking Oronde Gadsden, Mason Taylor, Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm kind of is at the bottom of the list for me, just in terms of these guys. Like, you know, obviously Tyler Warren's in a tier of his own, but then you're talking about, ooh, very nice.
Oh, you want to talk about that?
What?
My guy?
Yeah. All right.
Hey, Schul.
Hey, Schul. Yeah. So what do you seriously though? What's he gonna run in the 40? Even though
if he's healthy, it should be sub 4.35.
That is moving.
Man, yeah.
And he's almost 5'9", about 200 pounds. There's a lot of James Cook in his game.
Now you're talking that talk, and I like it.
What do you think would be a good NFL team fit? You say James Cook. You see how James Cook pairs with Josh Allen. How would he apply?
I think Tootin is going to be he's going to thrive in a system with, like, say you had a Ben Johnson bringing in Ollie Gordon and Bashal Tootin together. I think that kind of thing. He's not going to be the Tyler Algier to Bijan Robinson, but he's more the Jahmyr Gibbs to David Montgomery. Not that Montgomery is a good comp for Ollie Gordon, because Gordon does more, but you know what I mean.
You're thinking, fill up the A gap and then a pass catching role.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe Najee and Jalen Warren is a better.
How about somebody if Travis? I keep thinking the scenario of who can land in Jacksonville. Travis Etienne ends up on another team. You have Tank Bigsby who covers the gap scheme, and then you get somebody else who can be versatile in the passing game. Do you think? Could be that. I've thought of RJ Harvey to be that, but another name I'd like to in asking this question, it sounds like you're in agreement, Biggs, that Tootin would be somebody that.
I think RJ Harvey is right there too. I think both of them in a system like Miami would be good. I think both of them in Pittsburgh, like anywhere that they can be utilized heavily in the pass game with 70 targets. I think they can handle that. Is Cleveland. He gone yet? Or is he even in? Where is he? Is
Cleveland
Rashard
guys
here?
Rashard Smith is gone.
And he went in the third.
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard looking at the small names. Anyway, there's a bunch of those guys. Where did all my guys go? Oh, I still have one in the queue. Never mind.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna do it.
Want him?
Oh
shit! Well, looky here. Are we in the 5th round, fellas?
We are, boys.
What?
Oh man.
Oh, he said, "Oh man."
How did that happen? My interview with Jack Besh, I was working on right before Chev and I went on, and I couldn't finish it and get it posted. He's not the most charismatic on camera, but the things that he says, like he's a dog for TCU, and he shouts out everybody. It's pretty cool. He's like naming guys I've never heard of, and all I asked him was how he and Savion are helping each other like progress, and he was like, "Oh, it's the best. My teammates are dogs. I love them all." And I asked him about the TCU legacy, and he's like, "Oh, it's the best decision I ever made." And PJ Montgomery, like he's just like naming all these friends in the building. It was good. It was a good little snippet.
I can't wait to see more of the uncut footage from the Senior Bowl.
There's only a few that I have left. Obviously, other stuff will be leaking, but
Hey, Rashad White. Oh no, just kidding.
Ricky White from UNLV. Like you have Ricky White on here, but you don't have Jalen Noel. That doesn't make sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more names that need to be loaded in here.
I mean, like Nick Nash is in here. Granted, yeah, whatever. But no Jalen Noel.
So there's a
maybe
guy
after this week it'll fix.
I'm hoping so.
There's a guy who flashed quite a bit, who hasn't Jade Knott. Come on. Who flashed quite a bit that hasn't been taken yet, which is like kind of criminal. It might have been his relationship with the quarterback that made him look so good. Oh, you guys have already picked Terrence Ferguson.
Oh, I was wondering. I was like, this is either Tez Johnson or Terrence Ferguson.
Is Tez not gone either?
Oh, Tez went 311. My bad.
Okay.
I missed that somehow. I had him on my queue, and then he mysteriously disappeared, and I just completely ignored it.
I got Riley Leonard and Jack Kaiser to shout out Marcus Gailey, and go Irish, and sent those to him, and he was so happy.
Hell yeah.
How do we feel about this draft? How it played out?
I won again. What?
Yeah. Bigz wins.
So just quick reaction. Going back to our Dynasty Pulse rookie mock from last week. Where is that bad boy?
It's in Sleeper.
It is in fact in Sleeper. Can confirm. So in that one, Jaden Higgins we did 6 rounds, and Jaden Higgins was the 5-5.
Boom. What a difference a week or two makes, right?
Oh my God, Gadsden went to me in the 5th round.
Well, I mean that's obviously
we had the 6 picks. That was a little different,
Right.
Oh, okay, got it. Now I remember.
So that's still 1, 2. That's still the 5th pick of the 3rd round with Jaden Higgins. So he's moved up 6 or 7 spots.
Well, you got to think in the rotation as well. You got Arroyo, who's now in that top 5. Yep. You got Higgins in that top 5, and it's not disrespectful. It's well within the range. And then we have a little more crystallization with Devin Neal, Ollie Gordon. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
I think people are going to be back on Ollie, and people are going to start to get sharper on Devin Neal. I'm really happy with DJ Giddens. Mm-hmm. He moves him and Devin Neal move a lot the same. And I got to watch him. I haven't done his all 22 yet, but I got to watch his game live against Colorado, and he was out there skating. and I really liked what I saw from him. And I don't feel like people are talking about him enough.
Question on Giddens. Chev, do you see any Rashad White?
He's more yes. I'll just say yes, because that Arizona State Rashad White looked like a dynamic player, and I don't know what the hell's happened to him in the league, but like,
right,
yeah, he's moving at a speed and doing things and making cuts and covering ground that you're not really seeing at the NFL level per se. Now, granted, he did average a career high 4.26 yards per carry this year, and they shored up the line. They got Graham Barton in that offensive line, and Liam Cohen's run schemes were phenomenal. So we'll see what the new offensive coordinator can do. But to answer your question, yeah, I do see a lot of the movement skill that Rashad White put on display at Arizona State in DJ Giddens.
And it's beautiful. Giddens goes in round 4. I've seen Giddens go in round 2. So very, very excellent value. And to the point, we have yelled it ad nauseum, get your 2s, get your 3s in bulk. But looking around, let's read off the 4th round running backs. Woody Marks, just pass catching machine. Raheem Sanders, Giddens that we just spoke to. You got Hunter, you got Basil Tootin, you got Blue, and then Donovan Edwards. Donovan Edwards juked a guy out of the frame. I saw a pretty cool highlight there. So excellent talent in the 4th round. What do you make of that?
That speaks to how deep the running back class is. Like, you're talking about guys like, Basil Tootin has a complete skill set. Jarquez Hunter is one of the most decorated running backs in the SEC and in Auburn history, and he's got a complete skill set. I saw a TikTok earlier, great follow on TikTok, hashtag not a sponsor, but the Joe O'Leary, Joey's Prospects on TikTok, did a cut up of all the best pass catching running backs from day 2 or 3 at the Senior Bowl, and Jarquez Hunter flashed on there. Donovan Edwards flashed. And like I said, it just speaks to the skill sets of these guys. That's just a couple of the guys. I'm going to put it in our group chat. But yeah, I think that running back value, getting those, the prudent move is to acquire multiple 3rds and multiple 4ths, because the combine's going to crystallize a lot of ADPs that a lot of athletic players are going to rise, but then people are going to forget about the guys who are actually really good at football.
Yeah. And it kind of makes me think of like, what are we doing in the NFL at this point with running back talent? Like, that's cool.
Go ahead. I was going to let somebody else answer.
Like, there are people lamenting.
I guess, what was your welcome to the NFL moment? Like, whether it be like a veteran saying something. We already talked.
What is happening?
I don't know.
Somebody looking for video and they don't have their volume. Anyway, there were Jeff Manns asked a question today, and a bunch of people were like, "I went 0 RB and got cooked." But for the last few years, 0 RB has been good, and we want running backs, but there's so much parity now at the position, and there's so many stories of like Dameon Pierce, 938 yards in his rookie season, and then 400, and then 200, and then Rashad White finishing as RB5, and then out of the picture the next year. Like, what is happening? What are we doing? Just load up on all the running backs that you can and hope that like you are hitting your high level wide receivers, trying to find the next Brock Bowers to get some points out of that scarce position that'll like give you that edge, because there's only one Derrick Henry. There's only one Saquon Barkley. Christian McCaffrey is done. Jahmyr Gibbs, he was high, very high this year, but David Montgomery was hurt for a lot of that, and people are going to forget that. Bijan Robinson actually took over in Atlanta, which we didn't see coming, 60 carries more, and Algier had exactly the same number of carries fewer. What is happening?
Nobody knows, man. It's a wasteland.
I would say this. Go ahead.
You do have. They ran pure in the NFL as a collective for running backs. We do have a cliff of running backs from the 2017 class that eventually get out of the way. So we have this refreshment of what's pushing in. But we do have to be deciphering because you're going to buy in bulk. And if you come away with 4, 5 in these rookie drafts, and they're not those top 6, top 7, because let's give the top 5 with Janty, Hampton, the 2 Ohio State fellas, Caleb Johnson, and let's throw Neil and Ollie as the draft went out today. Beyond that, how much crystallization do we really feel like we're going to have? We've talked about the vagueness of somebody like RJ Harvey. So we're not definitive on these roles for these players. It's going to be a lot of law of large numbers. Gather a lot and hope to bring in and draw in just a couple that end up hitting big time.
Which is that's the whole theme of zero RB in the first place, right? And a few years ago, it was draft Damian Pierce, and then after his rookie season, trade him and go grab Rachaad White, and that worked pretty well. But holy cow, this running back environment is wild because the guys who are at the top of the class are the ones who are like post age cliff. Like it's crazy.
That doesn't matter. It seems now because what's funny. Okay, this is one point on age apex. Is there's the come up, there's the apex, and there's the draw down. That back 9 isn't as ugly as it used to be. It looks a lot more like that prime. And hey, why not? Hey, from 24 to 27, 28, why not benefit from 25? You know, this isn't Leonardo DiCaprio. We don't have to just drop off at 25 with these running backs. So I say stay thirsty beyond 25 for these running backs. Chev, what do you got?
I was gonna say you let off with a point that I think is one of the most crucial in all of this. We are far enough removed now from that 2017 draft class where a lot of those guys are going post-career. I mean, Leonard Fournette was the cat's meow in 2017. He's been out of work for 2 years. He wasn't
even the best in the class.
Right.
There was a year when he was at LSU where he was projected to be the RB1 in his draft.
No, I know that. No, I know, but I'm saying he
was the first running back drafted still.
Right. But then
so you're just throwing Jacksonville jade.
So with that, we're what? This will be 8 years. Oh, 8. See, this is the 8th season of the 2017 running back class.
Yep.
And so those guys are aging out, as you pointed out before, and we're due for another crop of running, like a deep running back class. The important point that I wanted to add to that is that trust your evaluation. Be a thermostat, not a thermometer, with a lot of these guys, and stick to your evaluation. If you have a high grade on a guy like RJ Harvey, just because it doesn't happen in year 1, it didn't happen for Rachaad White in year 1. After year 1, everybody thought Damian Pierce was going to be a top 15 dynasty running back, and look what happened. So I would encourage everybody to understand that the depth of this class means that guys are going to land in less than ideal spots and not get the draft capital. But again, thermostat, not a thermometer. Trust your evaluation on those players because of the fact that even though it looks murky right now, you're one cap casualty away from a guy being in a workhorse role like Rachaad White.
Hey, all right, think about too how it can look murky. 2 guys who got hit with the combine brick. Kyron Williams, pre-combine, the evals were up, and then he ended up hitting. Same thing with Bucky Irving. He got hit negative on the combine, and trust your evals there. So I'm just hoping, like, who's going to be that player this year for us? Who can we take advantage of?
whoever is like, who hurt their draft stock the most at the combine. That's who I'm drafting. Okay, so in my home league, right? This is my running back. This is my running back room. Jalen Wright, Tank Bigsby, Roshan Johnson, Blake Corum, Trey Benson, Kamani Vidal, Travis Etienne, Keaton Mitchell, Condre Miller.
It's right there, man. It's so close.
What am I doing with this rookie class?
Oh, like, so compared to this rookie class?
No, I'm saying my running back room is this draft class. I don't know where he's going to end up. I don't know what his role is going to be. Could this be the year he break and we're talking 30 guys.
Legitimately, yes. There are 30 NFL running backs that we've got 19 in the document right now, and we've still got to add like 6 more to get that built out. Like Jarquez Hunter's not even on the sheet yet.
Right.
And I feel like
Kyle Monangai.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think that some of these guys are going to flame out. Obviously, that's just
not everybody's going to make it.
Not everybody. Hey, look, everybody can't go. You know, the gate's not going to be open for some people, but but in all seriousness,
some of you cows are going to get your hooves stuck in the grate. So anybody who's been on a dairy farm knows what I just said.
But like seriously, I if you have a high grade on somebody and they go to a less than ideal like landing spot, looking at you, Bucky, just trust the process. Stay with your deal. Don't abandon a guy who's clearly an elite pass catcher because he landed behind a guy who can handle volume and is a proven workhorse. I mean, we thought that about Cam Akers. You know, we thought that about Cam Akers going into 2023, and look at what Kyron Williams has done in the last 30 games or so.
Yeah, but then we thought that there was a path forward for Blake Corum that never materialized.
Hey,
Right.
Switching over cross positionally, topical to today, right? Let's trust our evals. We've been talking about and we've been seeing the rising stock of Jaden Higgins. There's another one. He goes to a bad, poor situation. I know that somebody like Bigz is going to want to snipe on the dip in the ADP. I took him with the 2.8 today. He would bounce down maybe into the early third, possibly further. It's a fickle game, right? So maybe he gets a really bad landing spot, or he's dumped into a place that doesn't make sense to the untrained eye. To what Chev is saying, to what Bigz was talking about there, I think that's a player we talked about today. Maybe sometimes we root for a bad landing spot because then we can take advantage of some sort of a dip because long form, it's cream rises to the top.
I rooted for Jalen McMillan to like go to the Buccaneers. You know what I mean? Like I was very, very happy with that because I knew you had somebody like Jalen Polk who everybody was like, he's so good and there's nobody else to throw to except for Pop Douglas. And then with Jalen McMillan, it was like, oh, he's buried behind Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. And I was like, perfect. You know,
free.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you want to go to where people aren't. And in this saturated information in the Twitter sphere where all these players, everybody knows everybody, there's almost no secret. The sleeper is a dormant term. You really look for these edges in markets, like some would say the Dynasty Pulse.
Hey,
I like what you did there.
No crumbs I ate, right?
I'm not gonna say that because that's your thing. But yeah, that was real good.
Bigz, you want to take us out?
I'm so excited for the 2025 season, and it's only January 30th.
This is sick. Sir, this is fries in the bag, please.
And as I say every week, fuck the Broncos. Sorry, wrong show. We hope you win, guys. Thanks for watching the Dynasty Pulse. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Watch for us on a new network, as well as the Undroppables and right here on the Fantasy Football Plus network. And we love you guys. Thanks for sticking around.
Always remember what the great philosophizer R. Kelly said.